Welcome back to Stranded Survivors. My name is Matt, and I'm one of your co-hosts.
My name is Jericho. I'm a host of the Stranded Survivors podcast.
Jericho, buddy, what we got going on, man?
Honestly, overall, I've really not been doing much. I would say the biggest things that I have really going right now that I have been trying to lose some weight. I've stopped drinking pop.
Good for you, bud.
Trying to eat healthy a little bit starting this week. Um, I've lost approximately 3 pounds. So it's been about a week and a half after
Okay.
everything's all done. So I've lost about 3 pounds, which isn't terrible. So that's been nice. But I mean, honestly, other than that, just been really, been on Twitter or X a lot. Anything I can find to try to look at the updates for console for ARK, honestly, has been what it is. So, how about you?
Dude, I've been in the same boat. Haven't been doing much aside from, daddy duty and all that stuff.
Yep.
Um, Work keeps me busy, typical adulting stuff. Nothing exciting, nothing anyone really cares about. But I have been absolutely on the prowl like a puma in the jungle, looking for some information about any
Yes.
little morsel I can hold on to here about Survival Ascended.
Yeah. That's all. Like I said, that's been my life too. So I join you in that.
I mean, I guess let's cut out some baloney and jump straight to it on that note, because I mean, today we got a lot to get to. We're covering about, I mean, if you break it all down to the nitty gritty, individual finite details, we're looking at like between 130 and 140 little changes here that I found on this real cool subreddit. And we'll get into that here in a little bit. But beforehand, I've heard a couple of birdies. Some have told me November 11th, big old question mark for consoles, and others have told me January. So I mean, Jericho, have you on Twitter or X, have you seen any of these whispers that you can like confirm or deny any of that for me?
So I know I told you earlier, I was thinking, that the January date was pretty much delayed. The thing that I seen from, I think it was the lead social person from Wildcard, was that the January date is at this moment not a planned thing, but in their, tweet, they did say planned, which to them, planned, can change. So yes, there is a chance for January, but there is also a chance for the 11th. Like you said, I've been seeing a lot of the things on the 11th here, so honestly, it could be the 11th of this month, or it honestly could be in January. So honestly, I'm excited, optimistic, whatever you want to call it, to see what's going to happen.
I said it once, okay? I was real confident console was going to get the love it deserved at the very beginning here, and I was, preaching off the soapbox about how they're not going to do us like that. And I am again here to tell you, they're not going to do us like that. I feel it in my bones that as long as Microsoft approves the certification, because no offense, Microsoft, but I'm still blaming you. I'm an avid Xboxer, and I still think Microsoft is the problem. But if they can get it together and we get it approved, I really think November 11th is really promising and probably what we're looking at right now.
So the only thing that I really wanted to bring up with November 11th is that I was reading a thing Xbox posted earlier. Everyone's saying that ARK is going to be part of the Game Pass. Well, if ARK is releasing this month, or whatever, the next month, they posted their games that are going to be released, and ARK is not one of them. So if ARK is released, I don't think it's going to be a Game Pass game like we were thinking.
Didn't they? I mean, did we make that up or did they promise that? Because I'm pretty confident that I read somewhere that it would be, and I quote, a day one Game Pass like availability game.
Yeah, I mean, from what I understand, that's the reason that it was posted on Xbox, and I'm pretty sure that's what it said in the trailer, or at least something. I'm pretty sure there was somewhere that also said it.
Now, this isn't, the nail in the coffin because we've seen this before where Microsoft hasn't announced some games that are coming out on Game Pass, and then all of a sudden, due to like a breakthrough in certification or something like that, we see these unexpected games that just randomly get thrown into the lineup. I again, I'm coming with information without specific title names, but this is something that we have definitely seen. I subscribe to all this stuff on my phone, and in the morning I get all these like news things, and I have seen stories where they're like, oh, surprise game dropped suddenly on Game Pass last night. And like, those are not planned. And I'm assuming something weird happened and they finally got it figured out. So maybe we're going to see that with ARK. But with all the hype and the fact that they had like, a huge spotlight for the community partner, the partner showcase, like,
Yep.
you would think they would be hyping this up more. Like, all around, man, this is so confusing.
Yeah. Honestly, I don't know what else to say other than it is very confusing on what's going on. Just really hoping for something here soon, at least some sort of information.
Yeah, I mean, I still defend Studio Wildcard. I still say they're getting it together and they're doing their best and they want to provide information for us. They just don't have answers to provide. I mean, I get where they're coming from in the sake of I would rather not tell you anything, I guess, than tell you something and have to change my mind. I mean, I guess that would probably give more outrage.
Yeah, probably to be honest. I think that's exactly why they're doing it. I don't see another reason why they wouldn't do it. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, Papa Wildcard is giving us the old 5-year-old treatment of they're not telling us that we're going to the
Yep.
amusement park next week until the day before because we can't handle the excitement.
Yeah, that's man. If the game drops on the 11th and we are not told, I'm going to throw a fit because I'm going to pick up a shift on the 11th for work. And if I'm working when this game comes out, I'll be throwing haymakers.
What is the 11th is a Monday, right?
11th is Saturday.
Saturday. Okay, now it's getting fishy because you know, I didn't think that far ahead and a Saturday release that doesn't sound right. I can't think of many games off the top of my head that I can recall a Saturday launch.
Yeah, there's probably not a lot of games that are Saturday launches, but if anybody would do it, it would be Studio Wildcard.
Yeah, I mean, if they are going to do a Saturday launch, then shout out to all the devs that are busting their tail on the weekends because I mean that's not standard working hours for game developers, I'm sure.
It's definitely not, but from what we've seen as of recently, man, it is Wildcard has been working 24/7. So we really need to appreciate them right now.
Yeah, I mean, as much as we see on Twitter and Reddit and stuff like that of people being like, ah, blah, 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 there's a lot of great things that have been done, and looking at this list in front of me, this is a chunky list. We got a lot of paper here. There are a lot of things that they have worked really hard to remaster, to flat out create, to fix. I mean, there are so many quality of life improvements that I I want to scream, praises from the rooftops from what I'm reading.
Yeah, I definitely we're not playing it, but from this list that we're seeing, this list is tremendous.
Yeah, and I mean, we'll pull up at some point in the episode. We'll pull up some stuff in the Discord here because I want to go over. We've got some people in the Stranded Survivors Discord that have gotten their hand on the game, and they've put some really insightful feedback into the general chat here. And I want to pull that up as we're going through this list here, and I want to talk about some of that because we've got let's see, we got Fotsy. I think Mav has the game. There's who else? We'll go through. I'll call these people out and find some of the reviews here, so we'll get to that. But let's pick a category. You want to go right down the list in the order it was typed up, or do you want to pick a different category that you want to start off with? I mean, where do you want to start?
For now, man, let's stick to the script, man. Let's go right off the start here.
All right, so we're gonna go as written. I mean, first things first. I want to give credit where it is due. I have pulled this list off of Reddit, and it is a pretty sick list. So somebody in the r/ark subreddit has gone through and compiled a list of all the updates and all the changes and things like that that they have noticed and that the rest of the community members in this subreddit have noticed, and they threw it all together for us. I went through and I cleaned, some of it up into different categories and organized it. But Atomic Boy 47 in the r/ark subreddit posted it 5 days ago, so end of October. Go check that list out if you want to follow along. If you're more of a visual learner and you wanna read it yourself, they did a great job of keeping it organized and very well readable. There is credit to individual Redditors in there that have put all their effort and stuff like that into it. All these minds combined, it wasn't just one person. It seems like a pretty big team. So shout out to all of those people that worked really hard on this.
Yeah, definitely shout out to them.
All right. So, credit where it's due. Very first section, map and graphics related. So, the very first thing is the screen loading times much faster than Survival Evolved. That is huge. Even on the Series X, dude, those loading screens were wild, violent at times.
Yeah, those things were absolutely terrible. And I'm very happy that even on the Series S that I have, that it should be at least a lot quicker. Maybe not as quick as you, but that's going to be a big improvement. Just overall, I think that helps people want to play the game, so you're not waiting there for a long time.
And I mean, once again, we all love and know ARK. You know how it goes. You're gonna get arked. We're seeing in our Discord people are already getting arked. So if you get kicked off your tame, something awful happens, and you're like, oh man, I'm gonna get bit by that alpha raptor, then being able to load back in, 5 times faster, even twice as fast, is going to be an absolute game changer for people and frustration levels wise.
Yeah, definitely. So, we got a lot. We got 140 things to cover here. All some things combined, some things not, right? So, kind of the next thing on the list here, Matt, is foliage, which is, like the tree movement, different things like that. Now moves as you walk through them. Like, what's your opinion on that?
Dude, that's once again people like me that the water movement, the foliage movement, the like just general aesthetics of the background that makes a big difference for immersion. So the fact that moving through this foliage, pushes the plants aside, sort of gives you the feeling of actually being able to move through these bushes. It's a lot more involved visually, and I think that that immersion and the level of RPG that comes with it, like the role playing and stuff that comes with being more immersed, it just makes the game so much more enjoyable.
Yeah, that's kind of what I've been thinking. Like, I've been watching a couple videos doing things like that, and a couple people actually had concerns with that because some of the foliage would be like very glitchy and like just go back and forth like super quick or different things like that. And it was addressed like I within like an hour, and Wildcard fixed it right away, and the foliage now is moving pretty good, at least from what I'm seeing. So I am very happy for this new foliage. It seems like it's a more realistic thing for people to walk through and go through like that.
Absolutely. And on top of that being changed, the water graphics have been changed and improved, such as water splashing and moving as you or other creatures run past shallow water. That right there, once again, to people like me that care about the environment like that, not everybody does. Not everybody's into this
Oh,
type of game for the environment and for the weather and the water and crap like that. Some people are just like really into dinosaurs, and that's cool. But if you care
yeah.
about that, you know, once again, total immersion. It's a game changer when the water moves naturally. If you feel like you're actually moving through water, awesome. But if it looked like in Survival Evolved, you know how it looked like you were just sort of, I don't know, moving through blue air kind of.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I honestly, I've said before, but it's cool. It's a cool little feature. It is, whatever. But I'm okay with it not being in there. Actually, I would be a little bit upset if it wasn't in there. But I don't care as much as you do in the fact of like, this is so important to me that it makes it whatever. It does make the game better, but I'm not. So I'll just kind of give it just like a 7 out of 10 for being cool.
Man, 9 out of 10 would recommend. Okay, so the water doesn't impress you, but what about what they did with the caves? Because they redesigned the caves and they gave them larger entrances, so there's no more crouching to get into places. And then there's more foliage and there's glowing crystals within them, reminiscent to how Aberration looks. Some caves have new pathways.
Really? Honestly, I mean, I think that's pretty interesting, especially not, you don't have to crouch through a lot of things. For PvP, that makes a big difference because crouching was like the best cave that you could get in was crouch caves, and everyone was like, "Oh yeah, of course I have to go build in the crouch cave because everyone has to crouch to get there. They can't put dinos in there." Now with this is a big difference for PvP, and it makes people want to build away from caves. Honestly, I'd like to see kind of what the PvP meta is. I haven't watched enough videos on it yet. I'd kind of like to see what the meta is now for PvP.
Man, that's a fantastic point. I didn't see my PvE brain. I didn't even look at it in the lens of PvP. That's a fantastic point because not having to crouch I mean, I guess that's a good little, a medium there because, correct me if I'm wrong, cryopod's not a thing right now, right?
Yeah, cryopods are not a thing just yet. They will be in like quarter 1 or 4.
Hmm.
I don't even know, but they're not a thing.
So still, I mean, they're not a thing, so it's not like you can just yeet a cryopod underneath the crouch space anymore. So with them getting rid of those crouch spaces, it's gonna make it so much easier for you to, even if it's just a horde of raptors running them through that gate or something, it gives you that attacking capability that wouldn't have been there without cryopods in the crouch spaces,
Yeah, exactly.
And then, I mean, it goes on then. This is another big one for me, too, because I care about this stuff. New animations and models for harvestable material, such as trees falling down after being harvested, bushes disassembling after being harvested, rocks cracking and shattering after being harvested, etc. That's huge, dude. It makes me so mad, and once again, totally breaks immersion when you're sitting here picking handfuls of berries and all of a sudden the bush disintegrates in front of you. Oh, it feels so good, Mr. Stark.
Yeah.
I mean, again, I don't know if you care about that stuff because PvP mindset, you're trying to get in, get your materials, and get out before anyone sees you. So you're probably not taking the time to appreciate the landscape as much.
No, I have grown to appreciate it more now that I don't have the game, and because the graphics in this game are just absurd. I these people, these graphics they did. Congratulations, good job. I love the graphics. Makes me appreciate it a little more. But like you said, I just don't appreciate it as much when I'm actually playing the game.
Yeah, and I mean, I attribute that to it being PvP and you always having to look over your shoulder. But that's one of the benefits of PvE, to be honest with you. I didn't even think about that until right now, but not having to look over my shoulder 24/7 literally allows me to, if I got a tame with enough HP, I can just sit on the back of it. I can run off and grab a snack real quick. I can have a conversation with my wife. I can just straight chill. But in PvP, if you walk away from your controller for even a minute, anybody who's been watching you, as soon as they see you go AFK, it's over.
Oh yeah, that's why you got to be in your base. You can't have no snacks or nothing, man. No bathroom breaks, nothing.
Yeah, see, that's too much pressure for me, man. I just want to ride my dinosaurs, dude.
Okay, so kind of the next thing is here is industrial grill, air conditioner, as well as other crafting stations like motor and pestle, and cooking pot, etc. have received new and updated and detailed models.
Visuals. Crispy, baby. Make it nice and clean. I am all for it. The mortar and pestle especially was always very lacking visually in my opinion. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Not only is it underwhelming just in design, but it was also very underwhelming as far as like texture goes. So I'm all about revamping that. Same with the industrial grill, the texture on that and the air conditioner, the texture is just not good. In Survival Evolved, I mean.
those had to be pretty simple things to be honest with you. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. I mean, I'm all for it, man. I'm a huge aesthetics person, so being able to have just more attractive items inside the base, adding to the aesthetics and the ability to make it a more homey feel, I'm all for it.
Yeah, I care so much about the textures of those things that I'm just gonna throw a motor and pestle in front of someone, and I know they'll just glare at it, and I'll just kill them and knock them out.
You're a monster. On top of the textures and stuff, the overhaul on the industrial grill and air conditioner and all that stuff, the tools and weapons are beginning to show signs of being worn out and damaged as their durability decreases. I love that.
Yeah, that is pretty cool, honestly. And I think it helps for both sides of the spectrum here because, when my tool is going to break, I mean, they had a thing on the bottom, I think, though, didn't they? Or what did they have? I don't remember.
Yeah, it was like that little bar at the bottom that the bar got lower and lower, and then once the bar like disappeared, it was like an HP bar for the item almost.
Okay. I actually enjoyed that. But I mean, it's still cool to see it on the items.
I mean, look at it this way though. Like if you're completely in the zone, you're going on a big metal run because you got a huge project going on. You're trying to focus on how you're gonna build things. You're focused on who's watching you and if you're gonna get sniped off your tame, and then you just don't sometimes think to look at the durability of it. I mean, I talked about it in a previous episode, unless it was one of the deleted episodes, about oxygen tanks and scuba tanks and how I quite often forget to check the durability on those and die because of it. And this is one of those situations. You don't have to go out on a metal run, fly all the way across the map on your Quetzal just to be like 2 tinks into it and all of a sudden, oh crap, I broke my pickaxe.
Yeah, that's
I mean, granted, one would hope you bring an Anki with you on your metal run, but let's say in this scenario you managed to get a Quetzal before an Anki, okay? Maybe
Yep.
not a great scenario, but you get my point. Sometimes you forget to check that stuff.
Yeah, that is true.
Okay, talking PvP, one of the graphical updates they had here is the crosshair can now be better customized. I personally have never cared about crosshair customization. I know for Steven, one of our tribe mates, that's a huge deal. For you, do you care about that?
Man, honestly, I played a lot of Counter-Strike. I played a lot of stuff like that, and Counter-Strike lets you change your crosshair. I enjoy it because some people like the big crosshair, some people like the smaller one. It just depends on like, your eyes adjust to different better or adjust better to different things, right? So honestly, I wouldn't say it's like a big game changer for me, but I definitely am excited about this, especially for PvP.
Okay. So what is your eyes preference when you're sitting here talking about, different eyes adjust to different things? What is your go-to crosshair? Are you a big crosshair, small crosshair, red dot, like full-blown one? What does it look like?
So I would say that mine is just like it's like a smaller type of one. It really, it has the four little dots around it, right? But I need to like it needs to be the size of the head because if you hit him in the head, that's where the more damage is. So mine just needs to be like the size of the head, and the areas around it need to be, I'd just say, a little small because I don't want them to be too distracting from the body itself or the head itself.
That's totally fair. Strategic, and I like it. Man, you did a video on this, so go check out the other stranded survivors socials. But they did some pretty big changes to the supply drops and like the deep sea crates, the cave loot crates. Not only did they completely redesign the way they look, but apparently they also increased the amount of loot you can get. They changed the loot tables, like they added theory saddles in the deep sea crates, and they weren't there in Survival Evolved.
Okay. One, I didn't know that. That's pretty cool. But yeah, they definitely changed the way that drops look. Like that, I did a little video on it, and we've talked about it just a tiny bit. But the new drops kind of look like aliens. We'll see. Maybe there'll be aliens in Ark. I don't know. But overall, yeah, the new drops looks like an alien and look like 50 times better. The other drop, for ARK Survival Evolved.
See, ironic that you say that there may be aliens coming to Ark, but I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, but aren't the overseers kind of like aliens?
Yeah, I guess they could be. I could see what you're saying there. Honestly, I don't know though.
So, I don't know. They look to me like gosh, I always get these names confused, but the enforcer combined with what's the one that looks like the alien from the Alien movies?
Oh man, I don't even know.
One of them looks like the little xenomorph alien, and the other one looks like a little BB-8 droid from Star Wars. So it kind of to me looked like a combination of those two, and it sort of had some like almost insect-like appearance to me. It reminded me of a beetle, kind of a robotic beetle.
A good question, man. I don't know. I really don't. I don't know.
Hmm. Either way, I'm here for it. If you compare the two side by side, I think that graphically the changes that they made look way way better in my opinion.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest things I've seen that definitely got upgraded during the UE5 transfer there.
Another big one, similar to the way tools and weapons begin to show that they're degrading, armor becomes more dirty over time. So like cloth armor starts off white when it first gets crafted, and then it slowly gets more stained and covered in dirt and just less clean looking, which I've heard from people in that subreddit we're talking about that it's apparently like a really noticeable difference. Like you're going from tidy whitey to stained up shop cloth.
Really? That's really. I mean, so it doesn't affect any like durability or anything with it?
I don't know if that means that as the durability goes down, it gets more dirty, or if it's genuinely time related. If somebody who has played the game could sound off in the Discord to clarify that, that would be great. But it doesn't clarify. So, I mean, speculation wise, I would assume that it's just an over time thing, kind of like how your hair grows and your beard grows over time if you're a male
Yep.
character.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay.
So talking changes to graphics, a lot of these are graphical changes and like texture overlays and stuff, but an actual full blown map change, Gigas by proxy it says Carcharodontosauruses, I think is the full name. Karchars, whatever you want to pronounce that as. They all spawn in the volcano at the center of the island now. I had talked about that, and I had said that at one point, so I am so glad that they did that.
I thought that they were already. I thought Gigas. Oh, Gigas already thought we're there. I thought Gigas spawned by the volcano.
I'm not an ARK expert when it comes to the island, so I guess I don't have full access to that prior knowledge. But I mean, they're saying that it's a change. So I mean, I'm assuming, according to the user Blackbird V, that that would be new information.
That's fair.
Maybe it's just new that the Carcharodontosaurus is spawning there.
Yep.
In addition to the Gigas, I don't know. The only times I've ever gone into that volcano, I have never seen a Giga. That doesn't mean they don't spawn there. It just means that the few times that I have been on the island and ventured to the volcano, I've never seen them.
I've seen Gigas on the side of the mountain, but honestly, they could have spawned on the other mountain and just walked over. So honestly, I really don't know. I don't know. We'll just say that they're both coming there, right? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, either way, whether they were there in Survival Evolved or not, in Survival Ascended they are. So if you're playing Survival Ascended, heads up, there's Gigas and Karchars there. I'm going to call it Karkars because that's fun to say.
Yeah, there we go. We can just refer to them as that now. So next up, man, we got the Industrial Forge, now powered by the generator, similar to how S Plus Industrial Forge is activated in the Structures Plus mod.
I never played the Structures Plus mod.
Either.
One of our other tribe mates, Calvin, he had made comments about how the S Plus is game-changing and that all the S Plus stuff is way more convenient. Being powered by a generator, I am totally here for that. And they've also made changes to the generator that we'll get to later on in the item section. But being able to power all of that just on the generator now is going to be so much more convenient, so many less things that you have to check for gas.
Yeah, honestly. It will use a lot of gas, but it is going to be less checking.
And speaking of the Industrial Forge, that's also something that's now paintable. So Survival Ascended allows you to paint like the mortar and pestle, the Industrial Forge, things like that. That's awesome. Once again, aesthetically speaking, being able to color coordinate all of the crafting things in your room, or even, I mean, yeah, sure, I'm colorblind, so it's funny that I say color coordinate, but you know what I mean? Like, be able to categorize things based on color, design, any of that stuff will just help so much more with organization. I think that's awesome.
Yeah, I can't wait to, I don't know how they'll let you paint them or anything by that, or, let you kind of customize them. But I'm going to have about, maybe like 10, 15 of them in one row.
Boom.
And then I'm going to put Stranded Survivors Spotify on every single forge and every single server I'm in and maybe promote. Maybe that's a genius promotion plan.
Maybe. I'm going to post a little billboard on every obelisk of every server that I do trades on.
Exactly. Genius. There we go.
Okay, here's another one. This may be more of like a gameplay thing rather than a graphical overhaul, but it's here, so we're gonna move on to it. If you pick up a load-bearing structure like a pillar or a wall or any other structures, like anything that has other structures and buildables depending on it to stay upright, they go straight to your inventory instead of being annihilated. So if you so if you got like 6 walls stacked on top of each other and 10 ceilings and like all this crap above it, and I pull that bottom wall on accident, because I mean that happens, we've all broken the wrong wall and just seen a huge hole collapse in our base. That all, rather than being destroyed and lost and not even like attainable for the recycled materials, it all goes straight to your inventory and can be replaced.
Yeah, that's huge, honestly. I think that's something that would have been implemented, maybe in ARK Survival Evolved, but I'm glad they're implementing it now. Game changer.
Yeah, once again, that's a quality of life thing that it doesn't, break the game in any way, but it makes it so much more user friendly and so much less frustrating. Again, we're going to see a bunch of sick bases built because people are more comfortable and more able and capable to like bust all this stuff out. It's going to be sick, dude.
Yeah, it'll be amazing.
Speaking of amazing,
yes,
I am the most directionally challenged human being on the planet. I can't navigate sometimes out of my own driveway, I feel like, but
Huh.
They have made changes to the map system that is going to make things so much more convenient and like enjoyable for people like me. The first one, it says hovering or mousing or hovering over a spot in the map will show you the exact latitude and longitude.
Okay.
So you don't have to carry around a GPS anymore. In fact, we'll get to it later, but one of the other things I've got is GPSs are removed from the game. They were made
Ooh.
obsolete by this update, and as a result, were completely pulled out.
Wow. Okay then. Look at that. That's some breaking news. That's definitely something you guys need to know, especially for the people that were like, "Hey, this is the base location. Here's the GPS. You can now just do it on your map." That's pretty exciting.
And not only that, but you can make waypoints and you can change not only the color, because you know how before you could make waypoints that you could change the color and label what it says?
Yep.
You can also change the icon now. So I can have one specific icon for bases. I can have one specific icon for a couple dino spawns that I'm trying to get favorable colors or stats for. You can mark off specific resources. If you can never find oil, go ahead and mark the oil and give it a specific icon.
Wow. Wow, that's amazing, especially for people like you said that directionally challenge people. Like that's really a big deal for people. And now, like, if you don't know where an underwater base is, like that's really things that I forget is an underwater base. You don't know where that is, you just mark it. Or if you don't know where your alliance's base is, if you're E, or you don't know where enemy's base is, you can just mark it now. And that's amazing. I wonder if you think it stays like if I was to transfer maps, it probably changes, correct? But if I come back, does it stay the same? I wonder.
The way Survival Evolved worked, because Captain Struggle a map here, you would have every Ragnarok map that I went to would have my Ragnarok things marked on it. So every time I went to a new map, it would have my home and Ricky's home and Steven's home, like all these base locations marked on it for people that don't even play on this server. So I hope that it would change and maybe it would be server specific. That like for conversation, server 412 has these ones marked, but once you go to 592, it will have totally different ones marked. I mean, that would be really convenient for trading.
Yeah. Like you said, though, they're probably just going to keep it how it is and you'll just always have it marked.
Yeah, we'll see. One of the other things they did change about it though is waypoint creation. It auto defaults to where you're standing now. So you just have to pull up the map and if you memorize the buttons and real quick pop pop pop, it auto defaults to where you're standing. So you can just have your tribe mates find you. You can have your stuff marked in this location and then you can like venture off if you landed your Argent someplace. You can mark a waypoint really fast exactly where that Argent is and then just run off to go harvest stuff and then bring it back right to that waypoint.
Oh my gosh. That is absolutely amazing. I'm so excited for that.
But wait, there's more.
What?
Once you've made that waypoint, you can click on it and then close the map, and then it will show on your heads up display. So, just like you're tracking a dino, which makes it way easier to find bases, certain like resources, and like it says here, literally anything you want to mark or find on the map, you are able to track and have. Like in Skyrim, you've got your little map marker at the top of the compass that tells you what direction to run, and you just have to run infinitely in that direction, and you'll eventually hit your checkpoint. You got that now.
Oh, that's amazing. That's this is really just that's one of the best things I've seen so far. This might be the number one on my list so far.
Absolutely, that's huge. That is huge. And then the last map change that I've got here is that you can zoom in on the map now. You can zoom!
Yes, zoomy zoomy.
And unfortunately, we wouldn't be bringing you factual information if we didn't bring you the good with the bad. I don't know if this is supposed to be a good thing. I interpret this as bad. But the last one we've got here for like map and graphical changes is that the mesh has very noticeable paths to follow. That screams uh-oh to me. That if it's noticeable to follow, that means it's noticeable to know exactly where to bust in and out.
Yeah, that's the first thing I'm thinking too. But you know what? I'm assuming that this is meant to be, actually good. But I'm the same boat as you right now. I think that it could be a very bad thing. I think that's why people were getting in the mesh at the start of the game.
Yeah, and I would like to think, like you said, it's supposed to be a good thing, so I would think that maybe what that can be interpreted as is like if the mesh has a very noticeable path to follow, you know where not to build. because you know where people can pop in and out of your base at, I guess.
Yeah, I guess it can really just work both ways, can it?
I guess you gotta adapt and overcome, like Bane. All right, so that closes out section 1. The next one we got are all things dino related.
Yes, sir.
They retained their original model from Survival Evolved, meaning these dinos don't, they didn't take the T-Rex, because if you Google a picture of a T-Rex, you'll get all sorts of different interpretations. The most complete T-Rex skeleton that we've ever found, I believe her name is Sue, looks very different than a T-Rex on Jurassic Park, which looks very different than a T-Rex on Survival Evolved, and it all is going to have the same general look. It's not going to be a totally different creature is what I'm trying to get at. But they polished and detailed those textures. They've got things like skin flaps, patterns on their skin. You can see like that picture of that raptor. We saw the individual scales on its face.
Yeah.
Just the fur and the textures are all around better and more attractive.
Yeah, those things are big game changers, like you said. I mean, overall, they look amazing, but like I said, I just don't care as much as you do.
I mean, then I guess you're not going to really care as much about this next one, but for those of you, all my friends out there, everyone listening that, wanted to put your face in your fist through the TV every time these hollow, soulless eyes of a dinosaur would just stare at you. The eyes of these creatures are no longer just textures. They have their own separate models, which means they're probably going to be significantly more lifelike. They're going to be a lot less creepy doll-like. The glossy, creepy doll eyes of Survival Evolved really bugged me.
Yeah, I don't even remember the eyes. I just remember those stupid things when they'd follow you with their head, especially the big, like, the gigas and stuff, and then you'd get stuck in their tail or their head. Yeah, that's the only thing I remember, and then I just wanted to boot.
And that was a feature you could actually, did you know you could turn that off? Like that was a setting that you could go into with the holding Y. On console, on Xbox at least, it was holding Y. Probably, I don't know, I'm no PlayStationologist. What is that, triangle for PlayStation?
Yeah, probably.
You could get to a setting where you could actually disable that.
I did not, but same time, was I really trying to go through and do like, hundreds of dinos at that time?
Yeah, that's fair. Man, speaking of hundreds of dinos, we got some of these creatures are getting new sounds. Like the Dodo and the Dilo are two of them that got listed that have new sounds to them. I haven't heard these new sounds, so I can't, attest to whether they're better or worse, but they're new.
I mean, didn't it make a sound right off the start of the trailer? That's the only thing I'm thinking, but I can't remember it. So I really don't think I honestly remember any of these at all.
And I mean, I remember the Dodo making sound, but I don't remember it sounding very differently. It was just that standard, like, that the Dodo gives you.
Yeah, that's honestly all I remember. I don't know. Well, we got no information on that here. So next we got tames can now be tracked. What is your thought on that? I'm very excited for that. Yeah, man. I am very excited.
I will forever call this the Saphira edition because, my favorite wyvern Saphira that I just got off and she started running and then flew off and disappeared into the sunset and was never seen again. And then that happened like 3 more frickin' times to everyone that I named Saphira. So I would really appreciate being able to track them. I've heard a couple people actually utilizing this in like emergency situations, and some people have said that like their Argent and their Pteranodon did the same thing. You get off and all of a sudden it just flies off on you, and they have found it like really, really far away from where it was last seen. So it makes me wonder what the paths are that they're taking when they're like, what's the pathing on those dinos that's causing them to do that? And I guess I'm thankful that we can track it now because there's something wrong with the path making.
Yeah, which is kind of crazy to me because I've heard the path making is actually 10 times better because when you try to trap dinos, you know how like when you used to trap a theory, you just put a ramp and then you just like have it in a stone structure?
Yep.
Now the dinos are so smart they won't go on the ramp.
I love that. That's, again, much more realistic. They may be lizards, but they're not unintelligent. They evolved to the level that they did for a reason. We're probably going to see a lot of dinos that were as smart as humans,
Yeah, exactly. So
I'm all for it. Anything to, add a little bit of challenge to it, because sure, it was convenient to be able to throw a trap up and just be done, but it took the excitement out of taming. I think half the fun of taming is the giggling while one of your tribe mates is getting absolutely massacred while the rest of you are tranking as fast as you possibly can.
yeah, that does make it a lot more fun.
Shout out to Steven and the Gigataming. All right, we got new sprint animations for some of the creatures, like trikes are the one that was listed here. They have a whole new animation when they're sprinting.
Really? I mean, they did the little like buck up like they were a bull. That's what I remember.
Yeah, and I'm curious to see what that new animation is. Again, the game's not released on console. I've seen a lot of videos. I've been watching like a lot of content creators trying to pick up any little morsel that I can, but I haven't seen a trike sprint yet, so that's not something that I have enough information to comment on at this time, you know?
Yeah, me either, to be honest with you.
Yeah, that's all right. No shame in that. So, this is one that it's not game altering, but it's silly, and I am here for it. When you remove a structure underneath a sleeping tame, let's say you set up a single foundation and you let your tame fall asleep on it. First off, wait a minute, a sleeping tame? Wasn't a Megalosaurus the only one that slept that I can remember?
Honestly, that's the only one I can remember that.
I have so many questions right now. Does that mean the other tames sleep as well now? Does that mean, like, because I'm picturing a trike curled up in a little ball like a dog laying on the floor, and it is so cute, so I hope that's a thing.
Yeah, I think that'd be very cool to have Dino to actually sleep and get some rest or something.
So, anyway, if you pull a structure under a sleeping tame, they have an animation that makes them fall and smack the ground and then sleeping again. So,
Yes,
I'm here
yes,
for it.
let's
And
go.
as evil as it sounds, I'm kind of curious to see what that looks like. And I'm just, picturing things falling from the second story of the base and how silly that would be, kind of. Hopefully, they don't get hurt. If they take fall damage, then I'm not about that life. But remember in Survival Evolved, a lot of tames, if you weren't riding them, they didn't really take fall damage sometimes. This next one, some aquatic creatures will get near water surfaces, such as megalodons sticking their dorsal fins out of the water. That's cool.
See, that's like Jaws, man. That's like Jaws. We could really make a movie. We're just gonna like have a bunch of sharks come up, like make a really cool like scene. We're gonna be like the next Jaws on Ark.
Okay, hear me out. How cool would it be to make a series kind of like Red versus Blue, if anybody remembers that from back in the day, but make it like ARK? I know that they did something like that with ARK, but it would be cool to see that remade with Survival Ascended. You could do a lot of like even pirate lore. You could make a sweet ship. You could, videotape somebody doing some pirate stuff, making them walk the plank, all the megalodon in the back. You could make a pretty dramatic film, I feel like.
I Yeah, I mean, especially with the new camera feature, right? Like this new camera, the new photo feature is, from what I'm understanding, amazing. That like people are paying for thumbnails. Not gonna need to do that no more because this capture is so amazing. Nobody should ever have to probably use
I agree.
anything else again.
It's big stuff. It's going to be, for content creators, it's going to make a huge quality of life improvement for them. Like you said, with thumbnails, not having to spend the money on it, not having to spend as much time coming up with one. I think it's going to be huge. The dorsal fins coming out of the water, that is pretty cool. I am terrified, absolutely terrified of the water in ARK. So that's going to add so much more anxiety to my life. I, I stay out of the water as much as possible, but if I have to raft across something and I turn around and I see like 3 megalodon fins sticking out of that water, there's a non-zero chance that I may panic so hard I fall off the boat.
Okay, so we got all creatures have new death animations and no longer become rag dolls after death.
That, call it a flaw, call it a feature, however you want to look at it. I kind of liked that. I liked the ragdoll effect. I mean,
Really?
Okay, maybe I don't. Maybe I just like being able to manipulate the bodies. I don't know. I just like dragging them around.
No. We know you like to drag the bodies around, and you must have had rag dolls when you were a kid. It's okay. We
Kind
understand.
of freaked me out.
Um, you probably had one. You just don't want to admit it. It's okay.
He just moves on.
Wild creatures have limited stamina, meaning they can't chase you indefinitely.
That is amazing.
That's
Oh my
amazing.
God. I can all the times that you're just sprinting through the redwoods, screaming at the top of your lungs, trying to get away from a tame that takes bigger strides than you, that you're never gonna outrun. And then you run out of stamina, and all you can do is turn around and just no.
Yep.
Man, I'm here for it. I think
That's amazing.
that makes sense because, I mean, me taming you doesn't just suddenly make your lung capacity go down and you unable to run as far. Like, man, I used to run 17 miles a day, and then I got tamed by a human. Now I can't go more than 100 meters.
Yeah, that's true. No, that's a big, like, real thing that actually is true. So, good quality of life thing, and very exciting for anybody in general because if you're farming, doing different things, trying to run away, guess what? If you got more stamina, good luck, Dino. I'm the best.
Sucker. Creatures now leave footprints on wet sand, and large creatures leave footprints on the ground. So even dodos will leave footprints in the wet sand now.
Yeah, I mean, that's not bad. I don't know what it really does other than make the thing a little more realistic.
Again,
I
that's all
I could,
immersion.
yeah, I don't know.
I'm that weirdo that I'll crouch down and I'll follow certain tames, and if my wife or my kids are watching, I'll follow a dodo around and we'll narrate its life, do some silly stuff. If I see a kairiku or the penguins, my wife is obsessed with penguins, so I'll follow those around for a while. And I think that
Hmm.
being able to see their footprints in the sand and in the snow and stuff like that, and large dinos leaving footprints on the ground. Hear me out though. You say you don't care about that. You step out of your base and you are in an area that is
Yep.
very safe. You have built in an area that the biggest threat you will ever face is a raptor. And you see Rex and or Giga or Allosaurus footprints or something in the ground outside of your home. You now know that you're about to be raided and that somebody has been in the area nearby. So that could be huge for PvP.
Yeah, honestly, I could see that, but it's like, you're probably going to see them before that.
In theory, I mean, I'm looking at it from the lens of you just signed in and you came out of your base for the first time and there's a bunch of footprints there, so in the last 20 minutes you were being scouted or something is more what I was thinking.
Okay.
Aside from that though, I mean, it's really just aesthetic and cool for the people like me that are weird and follow dinos around staring at them.
So all shoulder pets such as Mesopithecus and Dimorphodon can have their inventories accessed via R, just like the Sinomacrops from ARK Survival Ascended.
I have not messed with the Sonoma crops too much. I did have them, but I guess I didn't realize that. I guess I didn't realize that they were the only tame that you were able to access their inventory as a shoulder tame while it was equipped. That's kind of silly.
Yeah, I didn't know that at all. I mean, I knew that you could with the Sinomacrops, but I didn't know it was the only one. I figured you could have all of them. That was kind of silly. At
You would
least they
think
at
that's
least they changed it now, though.
an easy like change to make, because if you already did the coding for the Sonoma crops, you would think that it would be a pretty copy and paste if X then Y type of reaction for the other shoulder pets as well. So I'm surprised that that wasn't a small quality of life patch for Survival Evolved.
Yeah, I would have thought the same thing.
All right, alpha dinos have new models, which I think is, long coming. It says that they look much more bulky than their non alpha counterparts, and they'll actually eat dead dinos too. So that's a must, man. The alphas should absolutely not look the exact same as the others, just glowing red. Like, a little bit of tomato smoke should not be the only identifying factor for an alpha.
Yeah, and honestly, even though that is very true, the thing I look at during that, what you just said, was that they now actually eat the dead dinos instead of running around in a circle looking like they're a track star. They actually, eat the dino.
I mean, I can take that or leave that, because sure, it makes sense. Yeah, let's eat the dino. Awesome. They're a carnivore. You deserve it. You got me. Go ahead and eat me. That's cool. But, like, my mind immediately goes to the Indominus Rex with a she's killing for sport. I mean, shoot, if you're an alpha, you very well may kill for sport. Like, when I hear alpha, I think of territory. You step in my territory, I'm going to have to show you why I'm the alpha. So it would make sense to me for them to kill you, not to eat you, but just to say, get off my lawn, you stinking kids.
Yeah, exactly.
It says that in Survival Evolved, some creatures could cause trees to fall. Like if you're, riding your wyvern or a giga and you're going through like a thick forest, it's possible that it could cause those trees to fall. That was
Yep.
already a thing. But in Survival Ascended, creatures can interact with the environment like grass and bushes moving as raptors run through them, water being slapped or moved as pteranodons fly above the water's surface. That's a big one. I very often skim the surface of the water in my pteranodon, so that's cool.
Yeah, I think the thing is too, right, is anytime you hit the water with that Pteranodon before, you just kind of get popped off your tame and very upset and very angry. So hopefully that gives that a little more leeway.
Honestly, I would, unpopular opinion probably, but I would like to see a feature where if you crash into the water with some of your flying tames, like a pteranodon, it would make sense to me that it could probably very, very poorly paddle itself for a little bit. Maybe for half your stamina bar, you could get back up to a flying position. But like, I wouldn't mind seeing an update where an Argent gets waterlogged feathers, because I mean, a lot of birds that are like ducks and geese and stuff, they have special feathers to allow them to sit in the water like that. A lot of birds, when they hit the water, if they get waterlogged feathers, they're not flying for a minute. So I mean,
Really?
how cool would it be to see? I mean, not cool, but how cool of an update would it be to see an Argent slap down into the water, get its feathers soaked, become too heavy to fly, and then panic in the water, and you have to be able to birdie paddle. I don't know if that's a thing, but you got to birdie paddle all the way to the beach or a rock or something.
I'm not gonna lie, having those wet wings, someone coming like on a imagine just a
You're just,
shark.
even in a PvP server, you're on your boat just flowing through the water, and all of a sudden you just see somebody's Argent like, um, dung beetles automatically pick up feces now. That makes so much sense that I can't believe that's new. Yeah.
Really? No, I'm just kidding. No, it makes total sense. It really probably should have been a thing in Survival Ascended or Survival Evolved, sorry. But they just, I mean, honestly, it makes them look better. Yeah, probably an easy update. But you know what? Congrats. Dung beetles finally now pick up feces all by themselves. I'm happy. PvP community's happy. Even the PvE community's happy because now they can plant their crops and everything. I think it's just a win-win overall.
And on the concept of automation, oviraptors pick up their eggs automatically. So apparently, you used to have to whistle them to attack eggs to collect them. Like whistle attack on the egg, and then it would go pick it up for you. I didn't know that was a thing.
Uh-huh. Okay. I didn't know that was a thing either. Okay.
Can you elaborate on why that would be a thing for me? Because oviraptors eat the eggs when they collect them, don't they? So why would I want you to automatically collect and eat my eggs? That would doggone take me off.
Yeah, I don't know. I would assume that it keeps it
It,
for
it didn't
you,
used to.
but I'm very confused. No, it never did. But we also didn't know that you could
I
whistle
mean, that's
them to
true.
attack an egg.
I don't know. Is it? Do you think
So,
that would be more of a PvP
oh,
thing where I'm gonna sneak over and I'm gonna whistle my Oviraptor to pop in there and eat the eggs you have incubating? Like maybe that's what they're thinking.
there's no way. If somebody used an Oviraptor, that would be one of the funniest things.
I mean, I'm not saying for the concept of attacking people, but like to bust in and eat your giga eggs. Why not?
Yeah, but there's no way they can get through the not those small.
They're not getting through like walls and stuff anyway, so you would have to help them bust through the wall. Which at that point, why don't you just go in and collect the egg yourself?
Yep,
So I mean, yeah, I got nothing. My idea was stupid.
exactly. So creatures can now have more color options. They can naturally spawn in compared to Survival Evolved. So I've noticed a big difference in this. Like even just looking at dinos with just like pictures from people, like there's dinos that look like they're already mutated.
Which begs the question of what are the mutated ones going to look like? If we have this many cool color options, we are going to see some wild combinations 6 months down the road.
That's kind of what I was thinking, right? Like even just from the dye colors they have, you would assume they'd have quite a bit of dino colors. And honestly, if you guys want to go check out all the dye colors and different that Dodo Decks, honestly, they've been killing it. They've been updating their app quite a bit. So go check out Dodo Decks if you guys have anything.
Definitely my go-to app, not going to lie to you. Anytime I'm playing ARK, I got to have Dodo decks nearby.
Oh yeah, otherwise I'm not gonna know what I need to do. So shout out to Dodo Decks, man.
Yeah, colors, absolutely awesome. Coming in with like a little subcategory here under the dinos, we got improved creature AI. So they made a handful of changes to the AI, the path finding and stuff like that. We had talked about that a little bit. But creatures now have a better path finding, thus allowing creatures to find other paths to get to you, such as avoiding cliffs and moving around obstacles. So theoretically speaking, that should curb a lot of like kiting that you would see in Survival Evolved. You can't just run a Giga off a cliff into my base anymore because it's going to find a different way to come wreck you.
I think that it's really true. It seems like they're a lot smarter now, kind of like what we talked about earlier. It seems like these wild dinos are just so much smarter, hopefully are harder to tame, and traps are a lot harder to do. You actually have to know what you're doing with the traps.
Yeah, and I mean, like, the next point moves right on to what you were just saying, that they will avoid cliffs, they avoid ledges, they avoid ramp traps. That's no longer viable. Those options are no longer viable in Survival Ascended. I want to repeat that again. A ramp trap is no longer viable because of this new pathfinding and the new intelligent creature AI.
Yeah, that's just a game changer, to be honest with you.
They're so smart that they give up chasing you if they can't reach you, and then like after a while they'll just flat out leave. So like if you go up on a giant rock, we had talked about in an earlier episode, when we were talking to Nettie, I talked about how I love me a good Therizino, and early in the game I'm going to go up on a big old rock and I'm going to sit there and just knock you out. That's not really a thing, because if you go up and you're unreachable, they give up chasing you. They're just going to go about their merry life and probably continue to live rather than just stand there and watch you shoot them in the face 82 times.
Good for them. Good for them being smart.
But yeah, Jericho will just stand there and take an arrow to the face. I've seen him do it.
Yeah, that's my plan. Yeah.
And I mean, building up on those smart creatures, if they're not semi-aquatic, so I mean, semi-aquatic meaning, for those of us that aren't aware or familiar with the term, you live in the water sometimes, you're comfortable in the water, but you don't prefer to live in the water full time. You're not a fish, but you're comfortable in the water. You'll go in, you'll hunt, you'll do your thing. If you're not a semi-aquatic creature, like, I don't know, a raptor or something like that, you're going to swim back to shore if you end up in the water. And in the event that the creature is chasing you into the water, they'll give up the chase and they'll swim back to land. We saw that, like, in Survival Evolved, we saw that a lot, because there were a lot of creatures that if you swim far enough away from shore, they'll turn around. So I don't know if they just improved that. They made it, I guess, more consistent, because, like, a T-Rex, that bad boy, I mean, depending on which documentary you watch, T-Rexes may have been semi-aquatic. They were pretty strong swimmers according to Prehistoric Planet, but they would chase you. They were ruthless. They would not turn around. At least in my experience, they would chase me out into the water and it would be miserable. I would never outswim them.
Yeah, in the deeper water they'd maybe turn around, but never in like the smaller type of water. They just continue.
And I guess maybe that has something to do with height comparison. You know what I mean? If a T-Rex is 30 feet tall, then they don't stress until 40 feet of water, whereas a Dilo that's 3 feet tall would stress in 5 feet of water. Who knows? This one's interesting. This is one that has always bothered me. Creatures that are mostly passive in Survival Evolved, like the Moschops, they'll fight back, and they hit hard, I'm told.
Yep. Oh man.
Yeah, somebody in the Reddit had commented that not only do they fight back, but they pack a punch and they bite hard. So be prepared for that.
Hey man, I'll knock out that Moschops. I dare it come near me. But you know what? There's no way a Lystro tries to bite me, man. That thing's like a little man.
I hope they do, because I feel for the Lystros. Lystros are the only tame in the game that I will go out of my way to save a wild one. If I'm like chilling, collecting resources, and I see something hunting down a Lystro, you best believe I'm going to get that son of a gun. You don't mess with my Lystros. I don't want that Lystro, but you don't get to eat it.
Okay, that's so... Coelacanths? I don't even know what that is. Coelacanths?
Yeah, those are the standard fish. So, like, when you would be chilling in the water and those, like, they look kind of like cods or a carp almost, just swimming in the water. Those are the coelacanths.
Yep. Okay, I know what you're talking about. I thought they had an H in their name.
Too. I thought it was like a coelacanth or something like that. I don't know. The Mandela
That's what I thought. Either way.
This is also take into consideration that this is, taken directly from Reddit, and a lot of them are in the verbiage of the people who wrote them. So if anybody made a spelling mistake, I honestly didn't look that deep into it to see if there were spelling errors. But
yeah, I mean, I was kind of thinking that, to be honest, when one of our titles was named Dino Related.
Related.
Yeah. Yep, related.
Yeah, that's what happens when I'm multitasking. I'm not very good at that. The fish and the trilobites not having levels, I personally don't mind that at all. I'm not gonna say I don't care because like I care about everything ARK related, but I don't mind them not having levels. I know people like Nettie will probably be really salty about that because he loves him some trilobites.
That's what I was just gonna say. I can't bash them. I really don't care about their level. Sorry, Nettie, but we love trilobites here. We love
Absolutely.
Nettie. We love trilobites.
But them not having levels, that's fun fact, I guess, is the way I look at that. That's not something that really impacts my gameplay too much, but it's good to know. All right, so we're moving in. This
Exactly. It's
next
just nice.
one, we're probably going to breeze through pretty quickly just because a lot of them are relatively self explanatory. Um, Item related ones. So, all things
Yep.
item changes. Structures have new designs, they have new heights, there's changes they changed the way that they connect together, the snap points, things like that. They added beams, half walls, cedar doors, wooden behemoth gates, stone ramps, different door variants, a hidden door wall that's going to be cool for PvP, triangle ceiling changes,
Yes.
and more.
Yeah. Those are all pretty big things, honestly. Like you said, the hidden door would be pretty cool.
I think the hidden door wall is probably the coolest one based on the sound, but just in general, it's also cool. Because, I mean, we talked about in 7 Days to Die, they have these different, buildable types, these different models that allow for a lot more customization of bases and a lot more unique bases. And what I'm hearing here is they are catering to the building community and they are putting in that effort to give people the extra customization that, we were hoping for. So I'm stoked about this.
Yeah, it'd be very exciting to see, especially like for me for PvP, and even just for you to kind of have cool. Maybe you can build little like mazes now, different type of mazes with trap doors. Everything would just be really cool. So, like you said, we're kind of going through this one a little quick, just because this is pretty basic here. The new teleporter sizes, what I'm understanding, they're a lot smaller. Have you really seen any of the teleporter sizes?
I have not seen a teleporter period in Survival Ascended, so I have absolutely no context behind that other than I'm all for a smaller size. They were so, chonky and bulky that it was tough to find a good spot in the base for them sometimes. So having them, big enough for a human is really all I need half the time, so I'm cool with that.
Yeah, kind of the same way. I think they need to be smaller. So tech binoculars can be obtained after beating the Alpha Overseer that works similar to the Super Spyglass mod. One, I know what tech binoculars are, but what is the Super Spyglass mod? Do you know what that is or no?
Super Spyglass, it says that it shows all the relevant stats of dinos. It shows how all of the dinos' points, wild and tamed, have been spent. It has an increased range. It's got a variable zoom. There is no overlay when zoomed in. It shows stats of dinos even if you're just holding it. And it can lock the stats to a certain dino by left clicking, it says.
Okay, I mean that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I mean, maybe I'm being hypercritical, but that's cool, but that's not the reward that I was hoping to hear from the Alpha Overseer. Because that's a tough battle, dude. I've done that fight. That fight is hard.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, but at least it's better than the Spyglass.
I mean, I guess okay. I guess I shouldn't be so hypercritical. It is useful. It's a really good tool, especially with it showing all of the relevant stats that really would be a game changer to save you a lot of time for taming and stuff like that. But as somebody who's not a huge tamer, that's where my mindset goes is like, awesome, give it to the taming guy.
Yeah, I agree.
There are new berries, and those new berries are used to make dye,
Yep.
and there are over 100 dyes. I know there was a crap ton of dyes in Survival Evolved, but we've got over 100 now.
Yeah, that's a lot. Honestly, I don't know them all. As I kind of said earlier with the dyes, go check out Dodo Decks, guys. They got it all. They're doing a lot of things over there. Go check them out.
Absolutely. Saddles now have durability, but that durability is currently bugged. So once the saddle reaches zero durability, it doesn't break and the damage reduction is unaffected by it. So it sounds to me like saddles have durability, but that doesn't really matter because it's not working.
Yeah, that's kind of saddles. Yeah, that's. I don't know what else to think other than that, to be honest with you.
It's not the way it's intended, but it not breaking, that's a neat little benefit for now, I guess. So they'll fix it. They'll fix that soon.
Yeah, no. So honestly, we got turrets can be placed in different angles and upside down. Honestly, I don't know, man. Upside down for turrets to me is pretty crazy.
Dude,
I don't know. What about you?
I immediately go to, like Starfield and other sci-fi games where you have the roof-mounted turrets. I immediately think of that where
Okay.
you open up a door and all of a sudden you just see six turrets hanging from the ceiling like, robotic spiders.
Yeah, I think that'd be. I mean, I've seen a couple things that could make this very interesting, to be honest. I don't know. I think overall it's a great ad, but I think for PvP it could be a thing that ends up getting reverted just because of the things I've already seen people do. Like they have them floating in midair somehow due to different things. Yeah, I don't know how, but good for them.
ARK players are really resourceful and intelligent, and if there is a way for them to pull some shenanigans where they're hanging a single fence post or some crappy little fence foundation that they can attach 600 turrets to, they will. They'll figure it out.
Exactly, man. These people are crazy. Man, I'm gonna hit a 2 for 1 here, even though they're kind of different things. I'm still gonna hit a 2 for 1. Okay,
Okay.
is generators are wireless and can activate structures within a radius, and then water taps no longer need a pipe system to work. Only that they are within range of an irrigation pipe.
The generator one works in my mind. I'm all for that. With the fact that the generator can now operate like the Indie Forge and stuff like that, I'm all for giving it a radius, just like the tech generator. It makes me, you know,
Yep.
wonder if the tech generator is going to have buffs later on when it's implemented or, changed because that pretty much was the reason that you got a tech generator was for the radius.
Yeah, I don't know. The thing I've seen, I've actually seen quite a few arguments on this that the tech generator, is powered for tech turrets. Why would you care about, doing the other thing that's really meant for tech turrets? I mean, you're still going to need the
Touche.
generator.
You got a good point there. But the water taps, not needing a pipe system, they just have to be within the range of an irrigation pipe. Like, so we have like Bluetooth
Yeah,
hoses now, or what?
that's what I was just going to say. Like, I guess we got some Bluetooth hoses. We're pretty advanced here on survival.
Yeah, I would like to see that. I need to, go look up some videos of other people's greenhouses and their farms and stuff because I want to see that in motion. But to me, I'm envisioning a Bluetooth hose, and I am not. I'm a fan of the functionality of it, but I'm not a fan of how illogical that is in my mind, at least.
I agree. I don't know. I think they should still add pipes. I understand it was very annoying that, but realistically, gotta add it. We don't have Bluetooth yet. So torches can be placed on your belt, thus allowing for lighting and freeing hands to use tools in dark places. In addition, torches as well as their flames can now be painted to different colors. That's amazing.
So there's a double-edged sword in there, because yeah, it's amazing to be able to paint different color flames on your torches. I'm a huge RuneScape player, so
Yeah.
the like colored fires and stuff was always really fun to see in RuneScape, and I'm really stoked to be able to have, a purple torch and stuff like that. I want to see the effects of the
Hmm.
lighting and the shadows and the ways that it changes the different aesthetics based on the color of the torch. But when I was writing or when I was like, copying over this list, my first thought when I saw this was, can you tell me one way you would put a torch on your belt that would not burn the crap out of your stomach or ribs or something?
Yeah, honestly. So what you do, put it in your belt loop, okay?
Okay.
Then then you get a fourth degree burn.
That's what I mean. You are gonna be crispy after about a minute. So again, functionality
Yeah.
wise, logically I have issues with this, but gameplay wise, looking at it not from the lens of this is an immersive virtual reality experience, looking at it through the realm of like, I need a light, but I'm really not trying to hold it because I got other crap to do. Like that's pretty cool. I'm for that. It's like a mining helmet.
Oh yeah, that's true. And I think that like maybe for aberration it could be very huge just because you have your light instead of a glow pet. I don't know. I guess we'll see down the road when aberration comes out. So items are categorized within specific groups. For example, before on ARK Survival Evolved, all structures were categorized by material type. Now in ARK Survival Ascended, if you search for walls, it'll show all the walls rather than having to search between wood, stone, metal, etc. And then also certain items have been removed due to quality of life changes such as the GPS and then the left and right triangle walls are gone, etc.
I'm all for those items being removed. Quality of life changes made them not relevant. The GPS, complete waste of resources, complete waste of space, basically, because of the map update. So I'm all for that. As for,
Yep.
searching
I
things by categorized, like by category, I think that's convenient because, I mean, you could do that if you went into the crafting log and you searched for wall. It would give you all the walls that way, and you could do it that way. But not having to actually like go in and type the word wall, just being able to pull up the walls section, kind of like they do in Sims 4 if you've ever played that. It's just way more convenient. A lot of ease of access.
That's fair. I could see how it could be. I was gonna say a lot easier. Just kind of just like a quality of life thing. So
And speaking of quality of life, coming back to crop plots and our Bluetooth hoses, they have snap point improvements for the crop plots, which, I mean, I never personally noticed a snap point issue with the crop plots. That wasn't something that I had a problem with in the past. So I mean, I guess I would like to hear about somebody else's experience with having crop plot issues.
so I mean I would say that only really there were issues, but like you could kind of put them inside of each other if you really
Okay,
wanted.
that's fair. I forgot about that. Um
Yeah. So objects such as smithies, furnaces, generators, etc. have snapping points that can be toggled on and off. Okay.
thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yeah.
My OCD goes hard. It goes burr when people put like a row of 30 storage boxes. Like, when you're first starting off, and me and my friends are the hyper organized people of we got to have a storage unit for wood, one for thatch, one for stone, one for flint. I like to keep things organized that way. And if they're in a line and it looks like some wonky dominoes, I have a major problem. I like to have them all, perfectly in a row so that way it looks pretty and flush and laser leveled. Got to get my little laser level out and my New Balances. So having snap points that I can just be like pop, 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 pop in a row and they all look identical, I'm here for that. I am so here for that.
Yeah, it should look awesome. So then we got better reactivity and accuracy with crossbows. You can now switch crossbow ammo type by holding R, PC. Gilly now hides player's name even from tribe mates.
So the crossbow, like reactivity and accuracy, I'm here for that. I noticed some accuracy issues with the crossbow in Survival Evolved. Just
Mm-hmm.
it didn't track as well as other games do. Some games have phenomenal, archery aspects to them, but I think Survival Evolved sort of lacked in that area. I just think the crossbow wasn't as accurate as it needed to be. So I'm excited to see what that reactivity and the accuracy changes will do long term. But, I'm here for it. I think that's awesome.
Yeah, I think those are both honestly cool things, especially the crossbow. Like you said, it really wasn't the most accurate thing you could have. So good for them for kind of switching that up. The reactivity. That's really what I'm excited for to see what that does. The
Absolutely.
Gilly's pretty cool. I mean, a little exciting, especially for PvP. You know, hiding the names, not being able to see those. Like Gilly could really be a big game.
100%, especially if somebody builds in an area, because we are going to talk in mechanics about the long grass that is now there. So if you build an area that has a lot of long grass, people are going to be able to ghillie suit sneak up on you, and you're going to be dealing with some Black Ops snipers.
And I'm gonna be throwing narc nades at people for sure. But like you said, man, you said mechanics related was kind of the next thing that we're going to be talking about. Well, let's get right into that. One of the first two things that I want to talk about here is wild babies that can be tamed passively after either killing the parents or taming the parents. That's pretty cool, right? I mean, taming wild babies? Yes, sir.
Yeah, that was one of the things. As soon as we heard that wild babies were even a thing, that was, our first question is, can you tame the wild babies? And my thought was, kill off the parents, and then the baby's going to be pretty vulnerable and looking for a new mama. So the fact that that is indeed the way that works, I am so happy about that.
Yeah, I think they need to hire you, to be honest. That's wild card hire
It's
Matt.
goodness, I don't have the skills for that. I'm a thinker. That's all I am. It's morbid in the grand sense of, yeah, I'm gonna go kill this baby's parents, and then you'll love me once I murder your parents. But I mean, I get it.
Yeah. So then, with the inclusion of wild creature babies, parent creatures will attack any living being that harms their baby. For example, if a Dilo attacks a baby parasaur, instead of the parents running away, the parent parasaurs will process uh, the aggro to the Dilo and defend their baby. Also, user interface changes with menu options, crafting menus, HUD, aim tracking, and menu settings.
So I think the whole, mama bear mode is amazing. That's hyper accurate. There are documented cases of house cats fighting off, bears trying to protect their kittens, and so I'm all for these creatures attempting to protect their babies. That's good.
Yeah, I think that's a big thing. Like you said, we've seen that just a lot in real life. That's like a real honest thing that happens. I think that, just little things like this even just make the game just a little more fun to play.
100%. And as far as let's see, you had mentioned the UI changes with the menu options, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that's the tame tracking, the crafting menus, like the ease of access to switch back and forth between the categories of like walls, foundations, ceilings, and stuff like that. These settings changes just making it more user friendly. That interface, I've heard good things about it. I've heard a couple people say that they weren't fans of the new interface, but from what I'm reading and from what I've seen on YouTube, it seems to be like a pretty positive reception. What do you think?
Yeah, overall, I mean, I think that those changes I think it will make a big difference. I mean, really hard to say, like you said. You just kind of go by word of mouth right now because we still don't have the game as console players and we just kind of see what we can see. But until we really get into it, it's hard to judge. But otherwise, as I've heard people talk and different things, I think I think it will be okay. That's what I will say.
Yeah. PC split screen support. We're seeing split screen for up to 4 people. That's awesome.
Yes, sir. I did a video on that on TikTok, Stranded Survivors, just so everyone knows. That's awesome if you're, a person that likes to play split screen, and it's cool. Like, if Matt, if you want to play with your kids and you had 4 controllers, you could play with your wife and your 2 kids, man. It'd be awesome.
Oh, and I plan on it. He's already asking about a dinosaur poop. He gets very excited. My oldest does. He gets very excited when I, mention to my wife any of the news that I've heard. She's a good sport. She entertains me as I geek out over here all the time. So he's geeking out with me. He's ready to play the new version of dinosaur poop. We just need it to drop on the darn Xbox. So, I mean, let's go. Split screen all the way.
Yes, sir. Okay, so now we got a
Um,
new map UI, and then also, the split screen support. But we got the new map UI tab that allows for showing exact coordinates, which we already talked about, right? Kind of talked about, being able to
yeah.
do the waypoints, do the player location, different things like that. So then we'll go to now both underwater plants and tall grass provide only fiber, flowers provide only berries, bushes provide both fiber and berries, small coral plants provide oil, and cave plants provide a lot more resources now. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's big. I mean, that creates a little bit more specialization in the resources that's going to make you be it's going to make you be more strategic in everything down to where you place your base because you don't want to have to travel too far for a certain type of plant, you know what I mean? So I'm here for that. I like that. I think specialization is good.
Yeah, specialization will be really awesome, and honestly, like, kind of makes you go more around the map. It kind of might be annoying, but overall, I think it's just a cool.
For sure. Um so if you are building your base, you know how like in Survival Evolved you got 30 seconds after you place it down to pick it up, and if you realize after like your 10th or 15th one, you got to real quick scramble back to go and pick everything up before it's too late. Otherwise, you got to destroy it and you lose half the resources.
Yeah.
Well, now you can pick them up anytime now. There's no
What?
rush. And like we
Dude.
had said before, any structure depending on that foundation or pillar or beam or ceiling or whatever it is that you picked up, anything depending on it that would in Survival Evolved be auto destroyed is once again in your inventory now. So you have so much more forgiveness building your base.
Oh my gosh, that's just a lifesaver, man. I put something I don't like. I've done that so much. That you gave the perfect example of what every ARK player does, man. And that is a lifesaver. It happened when I played some unofficial servers. I was like, man, they need to add this to official, and we'd be living the dream. So they now got me living the dream on ARK.
Absolutely. And not only that, but you can track 3 items at a time that shows like the materials you need to craft those items and how many of them you can craft with what you have. So if you're really trying to get an indie forge, an industrial cooker, and let's say a generator are the 3 items that you want to build,
Yep.
it will have off to the side on your user interface those 3 items, what ingredients are needed to make those 3 items, and then if you have those ingredients in your inventory, how many you're capable of making now. So there's no more, busting the calculator out to figure out, oh, if I got 750 fiber for this one and I want to build 22 of them. Now it just flat out tells you, like, yo, you got enough fiber for 19, bud.
Wow. That's awesome. That's really great. Good improvement, man. Good job. 100%. There's no other way. Good job, man.
The photo mode. You talked a little bit about the photo mode and how that's going to be useful for thumbnails and stuff like that.
Yep.
Just all around, man. I love to decorate the base with photos. I genuinely kept a camera on me at most times just so I could take fun photos, and there are some good ones, man. I've still got a photo on my Xbox of Alan the time he had knocked out his very first T-Rex to tame his own first like T-Rex by himself. We were all there to support him and stuff. And it's unconscious and he's standing on its stomach holding his long neck rifle like some big game hunter, and it was a very proud moment for him and we were able to immortalize that and it was awesome. So I am so here for the photo mode.
Yeah, photo mode's gonna be one of the biggest game changers. Like I said earlier, man. No more. Nobody's gonna have to pay. We're gonna have some cool thumbnails. Hopefully, we can get some good graphics on the Xbox. Be able to get us, some cool thumbnails for our videos later on. By the way, there will be videos coming on our YouTube, so make sure you guys go subscribe as Stranded Survivors. Okay, and then we already kind of know this. I'm just go through these ones really quick here. A death tracker to locate your stuff after dying. That's already. There's not really a death
Huge.
tracker, but I mean, we know where we die. I mean, there's a big glowing thing up in the air when we die, right? So, I mean, we already knew that.
But it doesn't show from that far. There's a certain render range that if you're outside that green beam range, like good luck. You got to know the general area that you died in, and if you're not familiar with the map, it sometimes can be a real pain in the butt to find that spot. So, well, again, for people like me that are very directionally challenged, you ask me where I die, I can't tell you my general coordinates. I'm gonna tell you that I died. I don't know. There was a raptor and there were 3 trees, and I was like kind of by the swamp, but not really. So being able to straight see that waypoint we talked about earlier where you can get a directional almost compass leading you right back to it, that is huge.
Yeah. Yeah, honestly, I always remembered where I was because, like you said, I kind of just remember the map enough that I knew where I was. But I could see how it is a very cool thing, especially if you were directionally challenged and things like that. It's a good feature to add to the game. So then you got much more simplified
For sure.
difficulty options. I mean, that's just, is what it is. The amount of berries that can be harvested from bushes and foliage has increased compared to ASE, or ARK Survival Evolved. It'd be nice, get a couple more berries.
Yeah, I mean the only times that I really am excited for that would be if you're like, oh crap, I really want to tame this, but I forgot narcotics. I guess I need to go get some narco berries. It would be nice to be able to hand harvest a little bit less. I mean, aside from that, if you're starving to death and you really need some berries, it would be cool to get a quick 50 rather than a quick 12.
Yeah, that's true. Honestly, that's the only reason that I would even see that you need it at all. Otherwise, I agree. You have dinos to do that and different
Yeah.
things.
After defeating a boss, instead of the element being in their body, like, it used to be you'd kill the boss and everybody, all right, who got the element? We got to figure that out and, organize it all. Now it shows up in a loot crate in the center of the arena's obelisk. So there's going to be, like, in the center of the arena, it will have a specific obelisk that will give you that crate full of elements. So there's no more, panicking to make sure somebody got it and that it wasn't lost somewhere, that it didn't glitch out. It's very cut and dry. Let's go open up the chest. I like that.
Yeah, honestly, especially doing a lot of boss fights, it was like, man, you gotta run, you gotta go grab it, have a certain amount of time. Like now you just know where it is, no matter what. That's great improvement, Ark. Thank you. Keep up this great work.
Absolutely. Shout out Wildcard. You guys are great. Asterisk. Um, Creatures now stay on the rafts, and they don't drift off when the rafts are
Oh
stationary.
my god.
Again, a feature or a glitch, who knows? But I kind of liked it when I'm just chilling there. Sure, you're about to get kicked when you see it, but when your Gallimimus just all of a sudden floats off of your raft, and then you see, 7 piranhas and a saber-toothed salmon fly out of the water like they're, going up the rainbow or something. Like, I thought that was kind of silly. So that's one of the lovable things about ARK for me, is all the little, like, goofy broken parts of it. But it doesn't do that anymore, so good for them.
Well, they say it doesn't do it, so hopefully it doesn't do it.
You can raise and lower your foundations when you're placing them, so you don't have to, like, finagle them to get it all even. Because, like, in uneven terrain, it's such a pain in the neck to try to get your stuff even. So now that you can just raise and lower it, almost stilted, if you will, that's awesome. And then the foliage disappears. So once the foundations are placed down, all the foliage underneath it will die off and disappear, so you don't have to deal with the obnoxious grass poking through your base all the time.
Oh, that's
like a Bethesda game.
Oh man, there we go. Good improvements here, man. They're just giving us good team. Now once we actually play it, we'll know all these things. Give us a little bit of, insight. So I think we'll know more than a typical console player, to be honest. Anybody that listens to this podcast that is a console player, these things right here are very key for you guys to be able to succeed, right? Even though some of them may seem lame, some of them may seem boring, some of these are very important things for you guys to.
Absolutely. When you're riding your tames, pressing the left key, the alt key, will allow you to zoom in your camera in and out. So that's pretty cool. Takes out the need to spyglass short distances,
Yeah. And like I said, thumbnails.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I think that's what we're going to see a lot of it for content creators. It's going to be neat. Nice little niche thing there.
So, Matt, really, I was thinking that we'll kind of go over, I just kind of want to go over these next few things. I'll let you know, and then we'll debrief after that. What do you think?
Sure.
So, if there's something specific you want to talk about, just let me know. Crafting stations can now pull material from dedicated storage to craft materials, such as if you want to craft a saddle, it will pull the needed material from your dedicated storage instead of you manually putting the material in the crafting station. Awesome. Structures that use fuel will now showcase how long they will remain on said fuel in them, such as campfires. Amazing. It's like a battery percentage. You can now ping locations by pressing MMB, and when holding MMB, you can open ping options. Okay, I don't know.
What is MMB?
I have no idea. If you know what that is, you guys can let us know in the Discord or on X or on any social media that you have or that you're following us on, or even on Spotify. If you load up your creature, the weight icon will flash yellow if it's encumbered and red if it's over encumbered. Okay. Good. Changes.
Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot in that little chunk. So, the first one you said, the crafting station pulling from your dedicated storage, that's a huge quality of life. Nothing else to talk about other than that's fantastic quality of life.
Yes.
Using structures with the fuel, like showing you how much is on there. I love that. I absolutely love that. 7 Days to Die does that, and the reason I keep bringing that game up, sorry for those of you that are bothered by it, but I've been playing that a lot while I wait for ARK to come out, and it does that. You open up your forge or your campfire, and it will tell you got 1,000 wood in there. It's going to burn for 111 minutes. Like, I love that.
Yeah, that's really awesome, and I think that, like, especially for like generators, man, you should never run out of gas in your generators from now on out. That is 100% your fault if that happens. So don't blame anyone else.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I would assume that it says structures that use fuel, but I would like to see that same coding transferred over to feeding troughs, so that way you could, walk over and be like, oh, sweet, I got 14 hours on my generator and 9 hours on my feeding trough. Like, those are very important numbers to have before you sign off for the night.
Yeah, I've told you already during this episode, please go work for Wildcard. Wildcard, if any of you are listening, Matt would love a job at Wildcard. Hire him, please.
Yeah, don't threaten me with a good time. I would love to. I can't code. I don't have those skills, but to be able to just sit in a room with some of these big brains and be like, hey, what if this? And what if that? That would be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I agree.
Um, okay, loading up a creature, the weight icon flashing yellow if it's encumbered, red if it's over encumbered. That's that's great and all, but I need to know more about the colorblind options because that is not an easy distinction to make sometimes, especially like it's there's no pressure behind like oh my god my inventory's full, but like in a what I mean in like a in the mode in the zone situation, I could possibly see myself struggling to decipher between those two.
Yeah, I really hope they do have a colorblind option. Nothing was really mentioned. Did they have anything in Survival Evolved with colorblind?
I think so, yeah. I'm almost positive they did. That would be a setting that I would have messed with like the first time that I played the game, so I genuinely don't remember messing with it, but I'm almost positive that it does. That's a pretty standard ease of access thing. A lot of people, suffer from color blindness. A lot of people have hearing and visual impairments that these ease of access things are sometimes make or break for people. So I'd be very, very surprised and slightly disappointed if they didn't have all of your standard ease of access.
Yeah, that makes sense. To be honest, I that is true. I guess it is pretty basically standard here nowadays.
Yeah. All right. So the last section we have, and this one's nice and short and sweet. So this one we're gonna be wrapping it up here. I know you guys have stuck in here for a lot of information, and we're sort of rapid firing it at you here, but we're almost done. First one for character and skill related changes. They made major improvements and more customization options in the character creation. That's something that we saw that we talked about that a little bit,
Yep.
and I mean all for it. Sounds great. They
Yeah.
give you we're talking even like 6 voice options for your character. 3 male, 3 female. Um I would like to think that in the 3 male and 3 female there's hopefully, like some gender neutral options in there for people that are trying to have a less, like a more customizable experience. So that would be cool. And then also 1 out of 4 hairstyles. So you can pick 4 hairstyles right off the bat. You don't get stuck with your standard one. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I was gonna say they normally stuck you with just a standard one, but I did hear from like, some YouTubers kind of use their art characters as like their thumbnails, right? So I heard that some
Mhm.
people had to use different ones because they didn't have the basic ones, like the ones that people wanted. Sorry, Syntac. I know you didn't. You just got some new luscious hair on your character. I know it's a little.
Yeah, that those changes matter for people. Like if you've created a brand around your character, like that matters. So I could see that being trouble.
So the map keeps track of your latest few deaths, and you can choose which one you track. Useful for death runs. I don't know what death runs are, but they're useful for it.
So like I I mean maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm just a masochist, but I would interpret a death run as like there are times usually it's when you first get into the map your buddies are already established here, you got to go find their base and they're busy. Maybe it's just my friends suck sometimes, who knows. I'm just kidding, I love you guys, but you know what I mean. They hit you with the well like we can't pick you up right now, so you got to boogie on back here with X item or Y dino to make this trade, or you got to get to this location, and you goof up right off the bat. I get out of the obelisk to do a trade, and I landed for stamina on the side of a mountain and got picked off before I could get back in my Argent. Now I got to figure out how to run from the obelisk back to where I died, and if it's in like the swamp or someplace that sucks, you're gonna need to be able to track 8 or 9, maybe 3 or 4 different deaths to be able to get back to the one that matters. You know what I mean? Because in Survival Evolved, if I have if I had all my cryopods of all my favorite dinos and 4K ingots on me, and then I get picked off, and then I accidentally pick up 7 rocks and 3 berries on the way, and then get killed, that most recent backpack that dropped is the only one that gets the green marker that I can recall. Correct me
Yep.
if I'm wrong.
I I don't know. I really feel like you could have seen more than one, but I don't remember for sure.
Maybe you could, and I mean, if you could, then ignore my misinformation. But still, the fact that you can track those and be able to look at them and get the compass waypoint, that's huge. I'm all for it.
Yeah.
When you're talking, we were talking customization earlier. One of the things we forgot to mention is that it gives you the opportunity to create all sorts of human body shapes. The human body is a fantastic organism that comes in many different shapes, sizes, and colors, and all of them are beautiful. So being able to, if you wanted to get a more immersive experience, and I'm a little fella, I'm short, I'm scrawny, I'm not a muscular person. So if I wanted to make my character look like me, I don't have to have these big bulky shapes to my body. I can make it how I want, and if I'm somebody who has, you know, a bigger frame, I can make that too. I don't have to be forced into your standard masculine muscle body.
Yeah, that's true. Honestly, I'm going to make myself the smallest character ever, and I've heard, or at least some things I've seen, is that you can make very small characters, and like their weapons somehow glitch out every once in a while, and like they're like 5 times bigger than you. That's pretty.
What's the weapons are 5 times bigger than you?
Like that's what I've seen in someone's like a little thing the other day was that they added a weapon, and that they were just the weapons were like way bigger in the picture anyways, like they were taking.
That's interesting. I would like to see that in action because my mind immediately goes to building someone like Odd Job from the old GoldenEye, and running around with this impossible to hit hitbox.
Yeah, I have heard that's a big thing right now, and that they want to change it because they're saying you can be so small that you cannot even see people in bushes.
That's broken for PvP. That's completely broken. Talk about ghillie suit snipers, especially if they're so small you can't even see them. That's an unfair advantage, definitely.
Yeah, exactly. So, Matt, kind of one of the things that we want to talk about here is your survivor now starts with 150 oxygen instead of ARK Survival Evolves 100. That's insane. That's a lot.
Yeah, that's a 50% increase. And honestly, those are dead levels. I had mentioned in one of the episodes we recorded that we deleted, we talked about like our go-to character builds, and I had mentioned how I level up my oxygen because I'm terrified of the ocean. I'm terrified of drowning. That's a real life fear that carries over into the game for me. And being able to have 50% more time to not drown, I am all for that. That's a convenient use that you don't have to dump levels into.
Yeah, that is true. But honestly, I wonder like what that's how that's just going to change the game. Like, is maybe more people underwater, taming things underwater, run away from, I don't know. I think it could, there's a big amount that this thing could very much change the game just from the 50 oxygen. Yeah, so the only thing that I really wanted to add, and you can let me know if I'm completely wrong here, but I've, watched videos, different things like that. But so when you build in the snow now lands on your roof. Did that ever happen before?
No, I am very confident to say no. I don't remember that ever being a thing. I'm pretty positive that metal bases are just metal and stone is just stone. I don't ever remember, like, I remember seeing it be wet when it was raining sometimes, but even that, like, very, very, very minimally. Maybe it was just wishful thinking. I never noticed any of those weather textures before, so that's a big one. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I seen a thing the other day. There was snow on top of one of the buildings, and I was like, man, this is really cool. I think somebody needs to do a video on it because I don't think a lot of people know that this is a change, even though it's just like an aesthetic thing. Like it's a change.
But again, immersion. If you're one of those people that, oh, I'm in love with the winter wonderland, then that's attractive to you. That's going to be beautiful. That's something that those people will greatly enjoy. So good for them, and I'm here for it.
Yeah, and then kind of the last thing that I can remember that really wasn't mentioned on the list here, that now there's crate stacking, like your little small wooden boxes you can stack on top of each other now, kind of like the tech dedicated storage boxes. It's nothing crazy. It's just small little storage boxes, but I mean it's still cool.
Yeah, I don't see that being something that I will utilize in my base just because in my actual base I like larger storage units. Those are a little small for my opinion or my liking. But in the event of like a satellite base or in PvP, you're supposed to, you got a little hidey hole where you stash away your stuff so when you get wiped, you at least don't have to start completely over. Like it would be useful
Yeah,
for those little hidey holes.
yeah, that is true. That's probably the only. To be honest, I do agree with that.
Yeah, that or I mean if you're really really tight on space, I could see you utilizing the little storage boxes rather than the larger ones, but I mean, that's if you're going for a real compact base build and that's more of a niche use rather than something that would be consistently beneficial to everyone.
I agree. That's why we got vaults and everything. 100%.
Absolutely. All right. Real quick, I want to sort of break away. Covered a lot of that stuff. I want to give everybody's brain a little bit of a break here. No new information, just a little bit of community building. So last week we asked, Jericho, you asked in the middle of the episode, do our viewers prefer PvE, PvP, or some like hybrid custom, server type build?
Yep.
Have you looked at the poll results yet? Did you look at all those?
So I've not fully looked at the final results here. I looked at them earlier on in the week, and I could tell you I was getting smoked just like I predicted.
58% of our listeners, as of the time of recording, 58% prefer PvE, 11% prefer PvP, and 32% are chilling on an unofficial PvPvE.
And I'll just have to say this right here, man. As the losing man on this one, I need all my PvPers to rise up in this episode. Go back to episode 4. Just vote PvP. I'm telling you, I at least gotta be. You guys can't let Matt win the first one. Matt can't be 1-0 here on the podcast. I gotta be 1-0. PvP people
Watch
need
me,
to be
baby.
1-0. Please go vote
If
PvP.
you go into the actual written responses, we got 3 responses written on Spotify. One of them from George A says PvE because I get attached to my dinos and I hate finding out I got wiped the next day. That is literally my exact reason for why I don't play PvP. So George, I am 100% in here with you, bud. I agree. The next one was the Fabled Shuck. Honestly, I'm PvE. Honestly, couldn't stand the thought of someone raiding my base while I'm away. Honestly. I honestly have to agree with you. While I'm not there, you're not going to raid my base. You're not going to raid
Man.
my base, period, because I would be sad.
There better be one PvP comment.
There's not, because the last one was me. And I said Team PvE. I'm not a booty. Don't wipe me.
Oh man, I'm about to go put PvP on there just myself then, so I at least got it on there.
Yeah, because as of right now, 100% of the written responses have been PvE. So I'm feeling pretty confident that PvE is the superior game mode here. Prove me I'm wrong.
I will say so far that the PvE players though, very dedicated people. We appreciate you.
Yeah. Everybody who responded, I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. And for this week, I would like everyone to let us know. Go down to the description, check out the community question that will be here if you made it this far into the episode. And I want to know, what is your favorite or least favorite adjustment that they have made? What change from Survival Evolved into Survival Ascended are you most or least enjoying at this time? Or if you haven't played it yet, which one are you most or least looking forward to based on the descriptions here?
Yeah, guys, definitely go vote on that. We kind of have our own opinions on things. Definitely excited, as we said in the thing, for a lot of different things that are coming, for a lot of different things that are really already here for ARK Survival Ascended. We definitely are excited to play. We are ready to play it. Studio Wildcard, release the game. We're ready. I don't care if it has bugs. I'll cry. I don't know. But either way, I'm
Yeah.
very excited to play the game.
What is your answer to that question? I mean, you're excited, I'm excited, but what feature and change are you most excited for, Jericho?
So I'm going to say that my most thing that I'm excited for right now is going to be, it was one of the other episodes here, but the wild baby dinos. I'm so excited to tame them. I think they're one of the coolest additions to the game, and I'm just ready to go tame myself a little baby Giga or something for PvP and just go crazy.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. I
What
was
about you?
going to say the baby dinos as well, but in the sake of, being unique, I am going to say the other thing that I am almost equally excited for, in addition to the baby dinos, would be the map and the tracking updates that they made. I'm so directionally challenged that it's going to save me hours of time and frustration in the long run as I get used to the maps. The island's not a map that I'm used to, so it's going to be an entire learning curve. The center and Ragnarok and stuff like that, back of my hand. But the island is brand new to me.
Yeah, that would be good for the people that have never played this game that are trying it out, be able to find their things easier, get around the map easier, locations easier. It's a great all-around improvement for everyone, even, old players like you said, for people that just don't know what's going on. It's an overall great benefit to everyone.
Yeah, I don't see a negative to that. Let's see, I'm trying to scroll through the Discord here real quick to see if I can find some of those reviews that we talked about earlier. Mav was talking about the frames were super low, like even on the lowest graphics setting, that they ended up having to uninstall it and get a refund for the game because just the frame rates were so slow that they were unable to enjoy it. I mean, that is concerning. I know that they had mentioned their specs for their PC at one point, but I don't remember it being something that I was like, oh, gee whiz, that's going to be a problem. Mav also had a problem with not being able to save FPS changes in the game, so I mean, maybe that had something to do with it.
Yeah, I mean, that could be. I'm hoping that they already addressed these changes by now, is what I'm hoping for.
Yeah, that's fair. Fatsi had said also that it just it doesn't have that home feeling, So looking forward to
Yeah.
the polishing because it appears to be a bit of a hot mess to them at the moment. So I mean, I'm wishful,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? I'm hopeful that they're going to get these things polished, like Fatsi said, and after that, I mean, it's gonna be okay.
Yeah, I think we'll be fine.
I could ramble all day because once again, I'm obsessed with ARK, and I could do this until the wee hours of the night.
Yeah. We're both looking forward to council, guys. Are you guys looking forward to council? Let us know in our Discord. We have Discord, TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, or X. Let us know. Let us know what you guys thought. Thank you guys for listening to, the last little bit here. This is a little bit of a longer episode. Let us know what you guys think. Do you guys want to continue, these longer episodes? If we got the content, of course, we're gonna bring it to you guys. Like Matt said, let's answer the question there down in the bottom, or down at the Spotify. Matt's gonna post a question down there. Let us know what you guys' biggest improvements, or maybe something you guys didn't like.
All right, folks. I hope you guys take it easy. Those of you that are in the ARK already, best of luck. May the dinos be forever favorable to you. Hope everything goes well. And those of you that are waiting on it, I hope you guys enjoy the next week or so while we wait for this release. You guys have a great day, Beach Bobs.